technology is the course that is the integral part of the B.Tech program in India and other part of the country. We are having the two courses in the chemical technology. One is the inorganic chemical technology and the organic chemical technology. NPTEL is developing the two courses on the chemical technology. One is the inorganic chemical technology and other is the organic chemical technology. I am supposed to discuss about the organic chemical technology, and before going to the organic chemical technology course, I would like to introduce myself. Myself, Dr. Idimal from Department of Chemical Engineering, IIT Roorkee. I did my B.Tech, M.Tech and PhD from Banaras Hindu University in 1970, 1972 and 1993 respectively. And before joining University of Roorkee, now it is IIT Roorkee, I worked in Orient Paper Mill for a long time, that is from 1977 to 1990, and since 1990 I am here. I was also the professor and head Department of Chemical Engineering. My specialization is in the environmental engineering, petroleum and petrochemical and the chemical technology. I have written one book on the petrochemical technology, that is by Macmillan India, and the second edition of the book that is coming. I have published about 190 research papers. Research project I have handled 7. 3 projects are already I have completed 5 projects and the rest of the projects are continuing. I have organized 21 short-term courses and I have participated in a large number of the courses as resource person. I have received some of the awards and 2 of my paper that was recognized, I got the best paper. One is the Institute of Engineers, the Nawab Bahadur Memorial Medal, and the second was that the best paper award from the Russell Eckford Award, that was from on the Journal of Solid Waste Technology and Management. In the organic chemical technology course, first we will be discussing about the Mod-01 and the Mod-01, and the first lecture is on the chemical process industry. Before starting today about the various development, let me introduce something about the chemical process industry and its importance. Chemical industry is one of the oldest industry and playing an important role in the social, cultural, economic growth of a nation and in providing basic needs of the mankind, food, shelter, clothing, and have become an indispensable part of our life. It is one of the most diversified of all the industrial sectors, covering thousands of the products which we are using in the daily life. Chemical industry includes the basic chemicals and its product, petrochemicals, fertilizer, paints and varnish, greases, soap and detergent, perfumes, pharmaceuticals, and covers thousands of products which are finding use in our daily life from industrial to household. Indian chemical industry plays an important role in the overall development of the Indian economy and contributes about 3% in the GDP of the country. It comprises large scale, medium scale and small units. Various products from the chemical industry are finding use in packaging to agriculture, automobiles to telecommunication, construction to the home appliances, health care to personal care, explosive pesticide to fertilizer, textile to tire cord, chemicals and pharmaceuticals. So, if you see the broad range of the products which we are using in our daily life, that is from the chemical industry. Major product and their area of application. First thing that plastic and polymer that has played important, that has revolutionized the whole industry, because the various sectors we are using the various polymers or the plastic material in some or other form, and the one of the area where it has found the large application, that is the agriculture, water management in the pipes. Another area packaging, you see the polyethylene, that is the polybags, very famous, the polypropylene that we are using in the hospitals, automobiles, telecommunications, health and hygiene, and that is the because the polypropylene that has come in a big way and that has replaced most of the glasses that was being used earlier in case of the hospital. Education, again, that is very role of the education means the is the electronic industry, that is because of the development of the polymer. Synthetic rubber in the case of the transportation sector, textile, industrial equipment lining, we are using the synthetic rubber in some or other form, and the various quality of the synthetic rubber that is available, that will be discussing in detail in the next few lectures. Synthetic fiber, non-woven and woven fiber. Why the non-woven and woven fiber means we are also using the in the tire car industry huge amount of the synthetic rubber which is being used for the lining of the tire, and the hosiery, textile, soap and synthetic detergent, health and hygiene, domestic as well as the industrial. Industrial chemicals, drugs and pharmaceutical, pesticide, explosive, surface loading, dyes, adhesive, antioxidants, chemicals, metal extraction. We are using some of the chemicals in the metal extraction also, printing ink, paint, varnish, in all the area some of the organic chemicals that is being used. Sugar and alcohol for the food, we are using this sugar because that is also without sugar now the everywhere we are finding use of the sugar, and along with the sugar, because in the production of the sugar we are getting the spent was and from sorry, not spent was, molasses, and from the molasses we are producing the alcohol. And so the sugar and alcohol industry, they are providing the food, alcoholic beverage, boiler feed water treatment chemical, and then the ethylene and the ethoxylate from the ethylene glycol, biofuels, because the alcohol blend is there now. We are blending 5% alcohol, ethyl alcohol produced from the molasses root. Although the other root of the alcohol is also there, but in India mostly we are producing the alcohol from the molasses root. Pulp and paper industry, we are producing the various large variety of the paper, starting from the writing and printing paper, culture paper, coated paper, newsprints, insulation paper, tissue paper, packaging paper, fertilizer industry, that is the agri-chemical, and the your chemical industry, they are also using ammonia and urea, because the urea formaldehyde, and then the ammonia that is also being used as a raw material which is produced in the fertilizer, and of course the last the agri-chemicals from where that is dealing with the pesticide. Now we are having the large variety of the pesticides also. It may be the insecticide, it may be the herbicide, it may be the miticide. So different variety of the, just to meet the challenges which are being posed by the various type of the insects which are there and affecting the daily life as well as the food crops. This is the role of the chemical industry for providing the food, fertilizer and the agrochemicals. Already we have discussed clothing, synthetic fiber, dye stuffs, textile, auxiliary, because this dye that is being used in case of the synthetic fiber, auxiliaries, specialty chemicals, shelter, polymer, composites, coating, new performance material, because there is a continuous development in the. Now we are having the various type of the composites also, and one of the revolution that we are finding in use of the polymer, that is in case of the automobile industry, healthcare, pharmaceutical, polymer, synthetic detergent, quality of life, transportation, education, fuel, electricity, energy, water supply management, communication, and the in the storage of the packaging industry, also the polymers and industrial chemicals. So for the actually you see the now we will be discuss about the structure of the organic chemical industry, or you can say the chemical industry. First thing is the raw material, because the raw material which is available for the chemical industry, that is being processed by the various unit processes, and then we are producing some basic chemicals, and from the basic chemicals again with the various unit processes like the sulfonation, oxidation, or it may be the introduction of the chlorine, introduction of the other sulfur compounds, we are making large number of the intermediates which are being used for producing the finished product. So, various raw materials which are available for the chemical industry, or you can say the organic chemical industry, natural gas, that may be associated gas or non-associated gas, NGL, natural gas liquid, natural gas condensate, shale gas. Earlier I told you about the shale gas because that has come in, that is coming in a big way in providing a substitute, and the because the now it has been possible to get the shale gas by the your horizontal drilling. Petroleum fractions, refining gases, naphtha, kerosene, wax, gas oil, LPG. Another very important raw material for the chemical industry, that is the coal chemicals, because the birth of the chemicals that is started with the coal route, and the earlier lot of the work that was done in 1930 and Germany just to produce the chemicals. Only problem in case of the coal, even today it is also the economic part, because in case of the coal the cost of the production that is high in comparison to the natural gas or the petroleum based. But as we are facing lot of the problem in getting the raw materials, so there is always search for the alternative raw materials. So, the coal biomass that is coming in a big way, and from the biomass to ethanol, biomass gasification, and all over the world people are working for the utilization of the biomass for production of the alcohol, for the production of the synthesis gas, and from the biomass or the coal route to the production of the, it may be synthesis gas to the liquid fuel, or it may be the synthesis gas to methanol and methanol to olefins. So, in case of the for producing the various chemicals using these raw materials, we are having the large number of the unit processes, and that is part of the either it may be the petroleum refining or other chemical organic chemical industry, that is the some of the unit process are, these are the major unit. Apart from these unit processes, there are other unit process also which is being used. So, this is the actually the major unit process, that is the cracking, reforming, dealkylation, alkylation, disproportionation, isomerization, oligomerization, partial oxidation, fermentation, gasification, hydrogenation, pulping and bleaching. These are the some of the major actually the unit process that we are using, and for producing the basic chemicals and the product which are using for the producing the finished product. This is about the basic chemicals which we are producing from the various unit process, as I discussed earlier, that is the methane, acetylene, ethylene, propylene, synthesis gas, butenes, butadiene, benzene, toluene, xylene, alpha. Xylenes means all the your ortho, meta, para, all the xylenes that you are producing, alpha olefins, alcohol, isoprene, that is for the rubber industry, cyclopentadiene, isobutylene, isocyanate, etc. These are the things that we are producing from the primary unit process, you can say, and these actually the intermediates, or you can say the basic chemicals that is being used for manufacture of the large number of the final products through the various processes, that is the oxidation, nitration, chlorination, hydrogenation, dehydrogenation, polymerization, carbonylation, hydroformylation, hydrolysis. Number of the process we are having using in industry, and these processes are being used for production of the some of the chemical ingredients which are finally that is being utilized by the chemical industry for the production of the final products. And four major classes are there. One is the polymer, that is the plastic and resin, and urea formaldehyde, phenol formaldehyde, melamine formaldehyde, that is the thermoset resin that we are producing, and the, you must be knowing about the phenol formaldehyde, that is the we call the bakelite, and that was being used for the electrical appliances. And so, the another major product from the polymer industry, LDP. LDP means the linear low density polyethylene and the high density the wide variety of the polyethylene that is in the PVC, polyvinyl chloride, polypropylene, polystyrene, ABS plastic, and like that a number of the plastic materials and the plastic composite that we are making from these products, which are produced from the various unit process. In the case of the synthetic fiber, we are having the nylon 6, nylon 66, polyester, acrylic fiber. In this case, one of the another actually the major units are there in case of the synthetic fiber industry, that is based on the cellulosic fiber, that is the viscose rayon and the acetate rayon. Another important product that we are getting that is find wide application, that is synthetic rubber, that is styrene, butadiene rubber, butyl rubber, nitrile butyl rubber, chloroprene, isoprene, and the of course the polybutadiene, because some of the units which are having the naphtha cracker plant, so they are producing, they are getting butadiene as a byproduct from the naphtha cracker, and that is being used for the production of the polybutadiene, because they are the actually the that part is eliminated, because in case of the SBR we need the styrene and butadiene both, and so then for styrene you will have to have the ethyl benzene and ethyl benzene. So that part is eliminated, so directly they are using the polybutadiene. Another important product, that is your intermediates, miscellaneous products, drugs, dyes, pesticide, detergent, plasticizer, fertilizers, paper, rayon, alcohol, oxygenates, and plasticizers. This is the now I will be discussing before going detail of the status of the evolution of the chemical industry. You see the ancient time and you compare the ancient times and the present and the future, what we are doing. In the ancient time, what was the churning of the ocean? That was just to get some of the resources from the ocean. And what we are doing today, today also we are doing the churning of this ocean in other form, that is the exploration, oil and gas exploration. We are getting a large number of the minerals and chemicals which are derived from the sea. Sea salt, that is a very important source of a large number of the chemicals, and one is your important sector, that is the caustic, chlorine, soda ash, bromine, all those things, iodine, that we are getting from the seas. So the quest of more and more resources, that was from very beginning, from the ancient time to the modern era, where we are using huge amount of the natural resources for the production of the various products, and just to meet our rising demands of the various things that we are using in our daily life. The concept of the development earlier, even in our country, you have seen that the era after the independence, that was the era of industrialization. There was actually the past concept was the social development, the economic development, and environment. All the three that was looked separately. Nobody was bothering during the 50s about the environment. It was the economic development, just to meet the demands of the people, to meet the food and grain. That was the important part in case of the earlier development. The present concept is that the development is just to consider all integrated approach, that is the social, economic development, environment, safety and health. Even in case of the environment, earlier it was the only environment, then it came the environment, health and safety, and that was the HSE. Now we are talking about the C, means safety first, then the safety, health and the environment, and the productivity and the cleaner technology, because the productivity, that is also very important. If you are having the lower cost your productivity, then definitely whole economy of the production, that will be affected. Similarly, just to meet the challenges posed by the environment, now we are having the number of the cleaner technology, just to have cleaner or the greener technology that is coming in the future, and already that has been implemented in many industry, just to face the challenges posed by the environmental pollution, and just to reduce the your consumption of the natural resources. This is the evolution of the Indian chemical industry. We started the basic needs phase, that was the era when the basic, just it was the prime object of the country or the government was just to provide the food, shelter, roti, kapra and makan. That's so agriculture, dyes and farming. We started with it because dyes were earlier from the other sources. It was mostly the coal chemical that was being used. Then it came the plastic and fibers, paint, dyes, pharmaceutical and detergent, and then the liberalization, the number of the development that took place, that was the petrochemical engineering, plastic, specialty fibers and chemicals. Then the expansion phase, that was the petrochemical, specialty chemicals, fertilizer and the pharmaceutical. Now you see the earlier it was the number of the fertilizer plant, that was we started with the naphtha and the coal. Now the natural gas that has come in a big way in the development of the fertilizer industry. So this is how the evolution of the Indian chemical industry that has taken place. Just I want to show one how the development that has taken place in a refinery. That is the Assam Oil Company, that was before 1923. You can see the how they started the refinery at that time. That was the first refinery that was started in India with a little resources, and that was in the remote area. You can say at that time the many of the things that was not available at that time. And so then it was the after in the 1969 I got an opportunity to take training in the Assam Oil Company, and so this is the actually during that period the Assam. And now if you see the new refinery, that is the Jamnagar refinery of the Reliance, and you see the type of the development that has taken place in the various, because in case of the Assam it was the mostly the thermal cracking and little bit the catalytic cracking. Now the lot of the development that has taken place in the thermal cracking or the catalytic cracking or the other processes that is involved, the desulfurization process because the removal of the sulfur. So all those things that has been included. Now the refinery is much more complicated than the what it used to be earlier. Now the refinery, newer concept is the integration of the refinery. That will be discussing while discussing the petroleum and the petrochemical part of this module. This is again the old sulfuric acid plant of the Assam Oil Company. This is the technology and the commercialization with the age of the industry. Age of the product, early stages our requirement was less, population was less, and so the development, if you are saying here, the development was like this. Now the requirement, early stages, growth phase and then the mature stage. So this is how the new products, less demand. Earlier it was the smaller plant size, low investment, less regulation, new customers, entrepreneurs, risk taker. That was the problem in case of the early stages. The consumers willing to pay. Now the what has happened? Petrol cost is increasing, in cost of the various products increasing. Still the people are buying, where people are running with the vehicle, or they are using the two-wheelers or the four-wheelers. They are using the costlier material now, because now they can pay the money. Our income, one more thing, that was the because of the limitation in the raw materials, availability of the energy resources, the cost of production that was less during the initial stage. Now the margin is much higher than the what earlier is, because there has been continuous development in the products also, in the quality of the product and in the manufacture of the specialty product. Global and Indian chemical industry is one of the world's largest sector of the economy. In 2008, that is its sales exceeded $3 trillion US, and more than 20 million people around the globe have job connected to the chemical industry. You can just imagine the role of the chemical industry. World chemical market, that was the $2 trillion USD global chemical market, growing at the rate of 1.5 times the GDP. Petrochemical dominate with the share 40% in case of the organic chemical industry or the chemical industry. This is the world chemical market. You see the major is the petrochemical, pharmaceutical and the chemicals, performance chemicals, agri chemicals 11%, inorganic chemicals 10%, textile 10%. Segments of the Indian chemical industry, we are having the basic chemicals. In the basic chemicals, about the around 49% market value is 32 US dollar. The inorganic chemicals, which deals with the caustic chlorine, soda ash, sodium bicarbonate, sodium carbonate, carbon black, titanium oxide, because titanium oxide that is being used in large number of the application, even as a catalyst in the paper industry, sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, etc. This is coming in case of the organic chemicals. Organic chemicals, we are having the acetic acid, acetic anhydride, acetone, phenol, methanol, formaldehyde, nitrobenzene, malic anhydride, aniline, chloromethanes, a large number of the chemicals that is coming in the category of the organic chemical. Basic chemicals, that is 32 US dollars, that is in the petrochemicals, olefins, aromatics, benzene, toluene, xylene, fiber intermediate, MEG, purified terephthalic acid, acrylonitrile, propylene, caprolactam, adipic acid, hexamethyldiamine, phthalic anhydride, methanol, polymers, synthetic fiber, and so on. Fertilizers, nitrogen and phosphatic fertilizer, other industrial chemicals, that is coming in case of the basic chemical. Specialty chemicals market value is 16.5, that is in the $1 billion, and the paints and varnishes, textile chemicals, dye stuff, intermediate, catalyst, plastic additives, adhesive, industrial gases, these are coming in the category of the specialty. Another categorization that has been done under the knowledge chemicals, there is pharmaceutical, biotechnology, agrochemicals, these are all coming in. So, that is 26.6%. Segments of the Indian chemical industry, high domestic demand potential as the Indian markets develop and the per capita consumption levels increases, because the always the, as you know, the wherever the increase in the population, demands are increasing. So, with the per capita consumption, although the per capita consumption in the developing country is much less than the developed country, but the requirement, total requirement is high, only because of the large population that our per capita consumption is less. High degree of fragmentation and small scale operation, that has been a big problem in the initial stage of the development. A large number of the smaller plant came into existence. It may be the mini cement plant, it may be the mini fertilizer or any other industry, and so the even in case of the pulp and paper industry also, the mini paper mills came into existence. So, high degree of fragmentation and small scale operations are there, which is also affecting the overall economy. Limited emphasis on the export due to the domestic and market focus earlier. Now there has been, but still our export is less. Low cost competitiveness as compared to other countries due to the high cost of the feedstock and the power, because these are the two very important. If you see the power, energy consumption in a chemical process industry, that is varying very widely, 30 to it may be as high as 50% of the total cost of the. So, cost of the fuel, that is very important, electricity cost or the coal cost, that has increased like anything. Even in case of the petroleum products also, the cost is rising. Low focus on the R&D, despite of the necessity to innovate the process to synthesis product effectively, because you see what has happened in our R&D expenditure is much less as compared to the other developed country. Even that was a survey in the 500 countries in the world, only name of the 3-4 industry was there who are investing for the R&D. So, this is the situation in case of R&D center. These are some of the major products, and all this information about the status of the chemical industry, organic chemical industry, what are the products, that you can get from the annual report of the Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer or the Ministry of Natural Gas, Oil and Natural Gas. So, there all those data that is available even on the website you can see. So, we are having the alkali chemicals in this caustic, soda, chlorine, soda ash, total alkali. These are the figures multiplied by 1000, that is as written there. So, this is the status of the your alkali chemicals. This is the major chemical products that we are producing in case of the organic chemicals, you can say, and that is the acetic acid, acetone, phenol, formaldehyde, nitrobenzene. These are the some of the organic chemicals which are producing, and this is the production figure. Similarly, the aromatics, in case of the aromatics, benzene, because benzene we are using in the various products for making of the cyclohexane, which is being used in the caprolactam to nylon, or it may be the mixed xylenes. In case of the mixed xylenes, that is the it may be the mixture of the mixed para, ortho and the meta, or the in most of the cases that is being separated to ortho, para and the meta, and again meta is converted to paraxylene, because the meta xylene we are having less application. Similarly, in case of the toluene, toluene is also converted to benzene and the xylene. And so, the aromatics, in case of the aromatics, earlier the source of these aromatics that used to be the your coal. Polymer, different type of the polymers we are producing, that is polyethylene, polystyrene, polyvinyl chloride, elastomer, that is styrene, butadiene rubber, polybutadiene, ethyl propylene dimers, ethyl vinyl acetate, nitrile rubber. Synthetic detergent, that is the lab, linear alkyl benzene, in short form we are calling it the lab, and the that is linear means the linearity is related to the biodegradability of the detergent. Ethylene oxide, because in case of the lab the detergent industry now ethoxylate that has been used for the more actually the greener detergent, and so the ethoxylate, that is from the ethylene oxide that we are making. And some of the your organic chemical industry, those based on the molasses, they are making the ethanol, and from the ethanol to ethylene they have gone for the ethoxylate also, just to have the more value added product from the ethylene oxide than the what the ethylene oxide that will be used, which is used for the MEG, DEG, TEG. Performance plastic, these are the some of the specialty plastic, because nylon are also that is being used in place of the some of the polymers like bakelite and other thing. In case of the electrical appliances, polymethyl methacrylate that we are using, what we call the perspex class, styrene acrylonitrile rubber, and that is not nylon 6, nylon 66, fiber intermediate acrylonitrile, caprolactam dimethyl terephthalate, DMT. Earlier actually we started polyester manufacturing with the DMT. Now most of the polyester plant based on the DMT that has been closed, and now we are using the terephthalic acid purifier, you can say the TPA or the PTA means purified terephthalic acid for manufacture of the polyester monoethylene glycol that is used in the manufacture of your purified terephthalic acid. Olefins, butadiene, ethylene and propylene, because this is the availability of the olefins that increase with the coming of the large number of the naphtha cracker and the gas cracker. Because earlier it was the only 5, we are going to have one big cracker plant in Assam, that is Brahmaputra cracker. So, with the coming of some of the cracker, even Reliance Jamnagar, they are also going to have the cracker plant. So, sometimes in the future, because you see the IOC Panipat, they have integrated their refinery with the petrochemical, they are having the cracker naphtha. So, with the coming of the new your cracker plants, more and more olefins means ethylene and propylene and butadiene that will be available. Other petro based chemicals, that is butanol, C4-raffinate, diethylene glycol, diacetone alcohol, 2-ethyl-hexanol, methyl methacrylate, phthalic anhydride, because phthalic anhydride that is one of the very important product that is being manufactured from the orthoxylene, which is again the byproduct from the paraxylene plant, because with the coming of the DMT and TPA, huge amount of the paraxylene that we are putting. So, that phthalic anhydride that we are using as a plasticizer in the paint industry: propylene oxide, propylene glycol, polyvinyl acetate and vinyl acetate monomer. This is the product wise distribution of the various summary of the actually the production figures. This is also the summary of the production figures. You can go through the synthetic fiber, polymers, elastomer, synthetic detergent, intermediate. These are the from the 2005 to 6 to 2009 and 10, some of the production figure that is given there. Now we will discuss about the what are the driving forces for the development of the Indian chemical industry. Some of the figures you see, the driving force, any development which is taking place, that is just to meet the requirement of the people with the increasing population and other development which is taking place. So for India is concerned, in 1951 our population was around 36 crore. Now we are having around 1.3 crores, and similarly growth in the vehicle population more than 5 times. India's passenger vehicle that has increased 2010 to 2.6 million vehicles, 2015 5.1, and by 2020 it is we are expecting that with the 9.7 million vehicles that will be there. So here if you see the figures, because in case of the automobile industry you are using huge amount of the now the petroleum products, that is the polymer, synthetic rubber for the manufacture of the various products. Now the conventional cars, that the weight of the material plastic that was very less. Now it has actually increased the your metallic part, and many of the even the metals that is replaced with the your specialty polymers, are the polymer composite, and so the now we are having the lighter weight vehicles in comparison to earlier where the major portion was the from the metallic part. And so this is the how it has contributed in the growth of the chemical industry also. So the chemical industry that has evolved considerably over the last century, largely in response to the changing societal requirements and the change in the raw material availability and the environmental. You see all the three aspect that is very important. Our requirement that is changing, and always I quote that dil mange more and more. So the same thing is happening in the case of the our requirement. The requirement was 1950, 1970, now it has changed. Many of the things which you are using in the daily life, it was considered a luxury. Now it has become your necessity. Similarly, the raw material, cost of the raw material that is changing very. You see now we are mostly dependent upon the petroleum product, and the cost of the petroleum product that is very widely fluctuating. There have been the change in the vast change in the cost of the crude oil every day. The cost of the crude oil because of the your if you because of the because huge amount of the petroleum crude oil, 70% that we are meeting from the import, and so the environmental issues that is also becoming more and more stringent, because environment is standard. Our environmental standards are at par with any developed country, and just to meet that environmental standards, we will have to all the industry they have been forced to make the changes in their process technology, and some of the process that is added so that the release of the pollutant that is minimum. There has been the continuous development in the chemical industry. So some of the technology, major technological development which has taken place, we started this soda ash with the Leblanc process to solvent process, modify solvent, lead chamber process, then the contact process, that was the single absorption, and now we are talking about the DDCA and the SO2 free atmosphere. Diaphragm cell, we started the caustic chlorine in the diaphragm process. Now then it was converted to mercury cell process because some advantage was there, and again because of the mercury process now we are all the caustic chlorine plant, they are based on the membrane plant. Similarly, in case of the if you see the cement plant, there is a sea change in the process technology and the overall economy of the cement plant, because earlier we used to have the wet process, now we are having the dry process, and wet process that used to be very smaller capacity, 500 ton capacity, 500 tons per day capacity. Now nobody will talk about the 500, all they know they are having the dry cement plant, that is the 3 million tons capacity dry cement plants are there in the, whether it is the grinding part or the pyroprocessing, huge changes that has taken place in the technology. Similarly, in the coal chemicals to alcohol based chemicals to the petroleum based chemicals and the vice versa, because again we are thinking of going to the coal and the alcohol based raw material because of the increasing cost of the, and at the same time the whatever the petroleum raw material is there, petroleum based raw material is there, that is not unlimited. So, we will have to think of acetylene based chemicals to the other routes, because earlier whatever the many of the chemicals now we are producing through the, it may be your this acrylonitrile, or it may be acetaldehyde, or it may be your vinyl chloride, all they were produced through the calcium carbonate. A long list is there, the product which the chemicals we are deriving from this. Even one plant in India that we are producing the vinyl chloride and then the polyvinyl chloride based on this tree. Then the class 2 super class process, because the sulfur emission that has been a big issue in the refinery and the power sector because of the increasing sulfur content of the raw material. Then the wood based to the agro based and the waste paper based mills, because the wood based material because of the deforestation, the people safety, and government give lot of the incentive for the, and still they are giving for the agro based and the waste paper based mill. They are the waste paper, one of the major is problem constraint that has been in our Indian paper industry, the recycling part, which was poor, but there has been a lot of the improvement in the recycling part, but still there is a lot of scope in the recycling of the waste paper, pulping to biopulping, because the biotechnology that has been, that has come in a big way. It is not only the paper industry, but in other industry also. Now we are talking about the biopulping, biobleaching, geometric pulping, in geometric bleaching. Similarly, in case of the biodesulfurization. Similarly, in case of the mechanical pulp, because which is the major lion's share you can say in the case of the newsprint. Earlier we used to have the stone ground pulping, now we are having the thermomechanical pulping or the thermochemical pulping, chlorine to oxygen bleaching and enzymatic bleaching, because the in chlorine, that is one of the most hazardous bleaching agent which we are using in case of the LDL, because we are using the chlorination or the hypochlorite, that was injurious to the pulp also, and at the same time the effluent which was discharged from the chlorine based bleaching, that was having very high toxicity. So, because of that reason oxygen bleaching now that has become, and the chlorine to chlorine dioxide, elemental chlorine to chlorine dioxide, oxygen, because all these things that will be discussed in case of the, while discussing the pulp and paper making. So, oxygen bleaching, ozone bleaching, that has come in the paper industry. So, these are the some of the major development. Similarly, sulfur to pyrite vessel, earlier we used to have the sulfur for sulfur, but now the some of the units which are using the pyrites in case of the copper industry, in case of the iron industry. So, we are making the sulfuric acid from the pyrites also, conventional aluminum iron based catalyst to zeolite based catalyst that we are using, because there is continuous development in case of the catalyst, and because of these catalyst conversion, yield of the product, and coal based fertilizer to natural gas and the naphtha based fertilizer, because the earlier we started, when we started manufacturing fertilizer, 2 units we are having the coal base, but because of the economic point of view, because it was less economical of producing synthesis gas in compared to natural gas and naphtha, these units were closed. Again we are reviving just to start this. That was one at Ramakundam and Talcher fertilizer. Coal and alcohol based chemicals to the petroleum based chemical. This already we have discussed how the changes now. Again we are taking, now we are talking coal and alcohol based to petroleum based, and again back to the coal and alcohol based. This is how the development that is taking place, thermal cracking to catalytic, because we started with the thermal cracking with the development of the catalytic cracking and the various actually the catalyst, the reactor configuration. Now the catalytic cracking that has become either it is the FCC or it may be the hydrocarbon. FCC to deep catalytic cracking. Actually, the what has happened in case of the FCC, the yield of the propylene that used to be 6%, 7%. Now we are talking about 20% propylene for the FCC, and so there has been changes in the FCC catalyst also, just to produce more and more olefins. Similarly, the hydro cracking, many of the refineries now they are having both the FCC and the hydro cracking for the processing of the heavier crude. Then the naphtha reforming to isomerization, because the low naphtha which have a low octane number, we are a number of the new refineries they are having the isomerization plant also. Acid catalyst to solid acid catalyst. Earlier for the alkylation process used to have the sulfuric acid, hydrofluoric acid, because of the high cost of the and very corrosive nature of the sulfuric acid or hydrofluoric acid. Now the most of the alkylation process which are coming, they are based on the solid is acid catalyst, and even the in case of the whether it is alkylation, because the alkylation process is in case of the refinery for improving the octane number of the some of the actually the products which are getting from the refinery, and at the same time for the manufacture of linear cracking. Naphtha steam cracking to gas cracking, because the always because with the availability of the natural gas and the now the shale gas, the cost of production in case of the gas cracking that is less than, or the steam consumption that is less than in the naphtha cracker. So the now the units number of units are also coming based on the gas cracking. Conventional petroleum fuel to biofuel, again as I told you, now we are talking about the bio means the blend of the alcohol and the gasoline or the biodiesel. Coal as a fuel to coal as chemicals, that is the if you see many of the big business houses, they are working on the how to economically produce chemical from the coal. Similarly, conventional fertilizer and pesticide, now because of the toxicity, biofertilizer and the biopesticide, that is also now again. Earlier it was the biofertilizer or the biopesticide which was being used before coming of the fertilizer point. It was the compost, it was the neem that was being used as the pesticide, but again we are talking about the the biofertilizer and biopesticide that is being used just to reduce the hazards of the chemical pesticide and fertilizer. Another development, coal, as already I have discussed, coal gasification to petrocoke and biomass gas, because the coal gasification that has been used from the very beginning either for the production of the synthesis gas or the production of the producer gas, water gas, town gas, or it may be for the production of the some of the fertilizer also, because synthesis gas to the urea, but the petrocoke that has coming in the big way, because now the petrocoke, because of the use of the more and more heavier your crude oil, the more coke that is being produced in the various processes in case of the petroleum refinery, in the especially in the thermal cracking process. So the petrocoke gasification in the future, because earlier they used to have the naphtha reforming or the gas reforming for production of the hydrogen. The hydrogen is one of the very important you can say the raw material in the various stages we are using the refinery. So the coke gasification for production of hydrogen, and the another area which are the development that is taking biomass gasification, because the biomass gasification again because with the ability of the huge amount of the agro-based material, the biomass gasification or the biomass pyrolysis for the production of the fuel or for the production of the alcohol through the fermentation route, and that is one of the thing that is we are going to see in the future, changes in the future. Chemical pesticide too, already I have discussed about the chemical pesticide to fertilizer and the fertilizer to biofertilizer. Soap to detergent, non-biodegradable detergent to biodegradable detergent, because this was the earlier problem when you are using the non-biodegradable detergent, and that was coming in the your municipal wastewater, and so just to avoid, now we are having the biodegradable grade of the detergent and more greener detergent, that is. And then the coal bed methane or the shale gas or the gas hydrate, they are going to be the future source of the natural gas. Already coal bed methane in some of the area of the Raniganj area we are working, and they just to trap this methane. Shale gas in US and the Canada, that has come in a big way, and because of the ability of the shale gas, the cost of the natural gas has gone down, and ultimately that has affected the whole cost of the product olefin that we are getting. Similarly, the gas hydrate, because still we are having the not much development that has taken place in case of the utilization of the gas hydrate, which is much richer in the methane than the other sources, but lot of the scope is there just to trap this methane from the gas hydrate, and the all over the world people are working to utilize the gas hydrate. Similarly, in other area also a lot of the development that has taken place in the chemical industry, that is the DMT to purified terephthalic acid, because of the quality of the product, consumption of the raw material, that is much about 10 to 15% is less in case of the terephthalic acid. And now we are having a large number of the larger capacity terephthalic acid plant. Earlier the DMT plants were low capacity, and that was the actually how the development that has taken place in case of the Reliance industry, because the Bombay dyeing were first to manufacture the polyester from the DMT road, and after coming of the Patal Ganga plant of the Reliance and then the Hajra plant, the most of the dimethyl terephthalate plant that has been closed, and the now whatever the plants are there, they are based on the TPA or the PTA, and the many of the units which were based on the DMT, that has been taken over by the Reliance. Another changes that is taking place in case of the caprolactam to ammonium sulfate, because normally in the conventional process which are using for the caprolactam, 3 times of that caprolactam we are producing the ammonium sulfate, and this is the reason why the caprolactam, which is being manufactured in India by the 2 fertilizer plants, one is the GCFC and other is the FACT, Travancore, they are making the caprolactam. So that is the now people are working, and some of the plants are already there in other part of ammonia free caprolactam. Natural fiber to synthetic fiber, that was the changes that has taken place, and still actually the earlier it was the only the cotton that was being used, but now it has been the mostly the synthetic fiber that we are using, but some because we are the cotton producing area, the still role of the cotton is there, and the people are preferring the cotton over the synthetic fiber because of the comfort. Natural rubber, synthetic rubber, again some of the country they are not making the having the natural rubber plantation or the natural or the cotton plantation. So they are totally dependent upon the either synthetic fiber or synthetic rubber. Petroleum refinery to natural gas refinery, this is the or the biorefinery, this is coming, this is the new development in case of the petroleum refinery, just to integrate the refinery with the natural gas based material also, or the petroleum refinery with the petrochemical industry, because if you are having in the same premises both the things, that the raw material from the petroleum refinery that can be used for the production of the petrochemical more economically. Another actually the conventional gasification to underground gasification, conventional drilling to horizontal drilling, and the hydrofracturing, which I told you, because the development that earlier it was the vertical drilling. Now with the horizontal drilling and the hydrofracturing, the cost of the drilling of the shale gas that has reduced, and so the shale gas that has become one of the very important raw material and substitute for the conventional natural gas. gas liquid and methanol to olefin technology, that is also now the big way, because the gas, natural gas is available. From the natural gas to the Fischer-Tropsch process, you can go for the liquid for the fuel, or to the methanol, and from the methanol that can be converted to methane, olefin. Coal to methanol and olefin, that is also on the upcoming technology, and the China, they have already, because they are having the huge resources of the coal, and they have already started one plant based on the coal to olefin. Conventional desulfurization, ultra desulfurization percent, and bi-desulfurization, because the sulfur, that is getting lot of the problem in the environment, and so the our standards for the fuel, that is becoming more and more stringent, and just to meet that standard we will have to go for the ultra desulfurization, and in many cases the bi-desulfurization, that also that is being used, even the bio technology application is there in the biodegradation of the oil also. Polymer to biopolymer, because of the only thing, the constant in going from polymer to biopolymer, that is the cost of the production is much higher. Conventional Ziegler-Natta catalyst to metal zinc catalyst for the propylene production, for the polypropylene, that has come in a big way, and the quality improvement is there in case of the polypropylene. Due to the various technological and engineering developments, chemical industry has been able to reduce the cost of production. Changes in the quality and raw materials have shifted regularly and frequently towards lower cost. However, due to increasing cost of the raw materials and stringent environmental, so chemical industry is facing major challenges in the future. These are the some of the typical issues which not the chemical industry, but other industries are also facing. That is the environmental point of view. Reduce emission, reduce waste, minimize the wastewater use, increase the thorough output, better productivity, meet the new product specification, because unless until there is continuous development, you will have to go for the more value added products, and this is what the refinery and the petrochemical industry are doing. They are going for the more value added product than the safe water, because the water that is most, and the you see the data that is being quoted as the next war will be not for the oil, but it is water, because the water scarcity that is increasing. We do not have the safe drinking water for our, not only in India, in other part of the world also the same problem that is being faced. Reduce operating costs, that is very important for improving the economy, improve the efficiency, introduce new plant, improve the utility system and performance. Chemical industry, these are the some of the challenges, global competitiveness, because now whatever the production, if you want to go for the export, then your cost should be at par with any developed country or the developing country, and then only you can compete in the, even some of the from the environment point of view, from the carbon trading point of view also, some of the big challenges there, how to capture the CO2, how to reduce the cost, and just to meet the quality, because the quality nobody is going to compromise. Even you see the, you will have to produce the quality at par with any advanced or the developed country. Increasing cost of the petroleum feedstock, discontinuing certain low value added products, inefficient technology, because still in India we are having the large number of the smaller plants, they are based on the older technology, they are running, even you see the vehicle, there is a lot of the improvement, but still we are running the older vehicles. Similarly, waste minimization, the waste utilization, and now the concept of the zero discharge, total recycle, that is there. It was the recycle, we started with the recycle only 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. So, this is the how the development, conservation of the natural resource, that is very important, because we cannot depend, because whatever the resources you are having, that is not unlimited. So, you will have to go for the alternative source of feedstock, energy and the water, just to meet the future challenges. greener and the cleaner technology, innovations, improvement in the environmental performance, quality manpower including chemical engineers, stringent environmental standards and its implementation, environmental health and safety challenges, as I told you, the shifting from environment to EHS to C. Earlier it was the, because the after the environment EHS word came in the industry and there people are talking about the EHS. Now the people are talking about the C, means safety first, health is first and then the environment. And so if you are controlling environment and if you are having the better safety, means your the environmental condition good and you are providing better health to the people who are working, because the two types of the problem that is there in case of the environment. One is the people who are working there and the other is the people who are exposed to these products because of the contamination, because of the some problem, because of the wastage, recycling is poor, all those problems are there. So, just to in the last just to conclude, due to the various technological and engineering developments, chemical industry has been able to reduce the cost of production, changes in technology and the raw materials have shifted regularly and frequently towards lower cost and competitive production, more production, better conversion efficiency just to improve the yield, less energy consumption, broader spectrum. Because you see the energy, we have there has been lot of the changes in the fertilizer, the cement plant or the paper industry, petroleum industry, and we have been able to reduce our energy consumption by 10 to 20-30% less. Even with the, it has been general survey that the energy consumption that can be reduced by good housekeeping, 10 to 20% of we are wasting the energy. So, that can be same thing is happening in case of the industry also. So, a lot of the improvement is there because of the higher capacity plant, because of the improvement in the various equipment, higher capacity equipments, because the better efficiency of the equipment. So, this is very important. So, this is the how the development that has taken place. Some of the references are there, you can go through, and regarding the status of the chemical industry, lot of the information is available in the annual report of the Ministry of the Chemicals and Petrochemicals and the oil and natural gas, so you can go through.